A witch hunt can happen anywhere at any time, but a full scale witch panic like the Salem witch hunt requires widespread misfortune and cause for fear. Welcome to the Salem Witch-Hunt Daily Report for Sunday, February 11th, 2024. I'm Josh Hutchinson. This is part two of my series on what did and did not cause the Salem witch hunt. Yesterday, we looked at what did not lead to the witch trials, so today we look at what did contribute to the witch trials. As historians have told us on our podcast, it wasn't just one thing, it was a lot of things. You see, the usual witch trials that happened in New England involved one or two suspects, whereas Salem involved over 150. How did things get so out of hand? A conflagration of that sort requires abundant fuel and a strong ignition source. The fuel came in the way of strife, uncertainty, misfortune, and trauma. The ignition source was fear that worse was yet to come. Let's take a look at some of what was happening in Massachusetts in early 1692. The colony began the year in legal limbo as it awaited news from London of a new charter. A war was being waged in New England with the French and Native American allies. The colony faced an economic downturn and was in debt from financing a succession of wars. This was also the peak of the Little Ice Age. Essex County was filled with refugees from the frontier, and soldiers returning from an ill-fated attempt to conquer Quebec brought a smallpox epidemic home with them. In Salem Village, bitter controversy had raged over the choice of minister for 20 years. Elsewhere, disputes over the halfway covenant embroiled entire congregations. At a micro level, neighbors were fed up with each other. Lands had been granted by multiple authorities rather than any central office, and boundaries sometimes overlapped. This led to decades of litigation between towns and between individuals, while other personal disputes festered, such as poor fencing, animals running loose, destroying other people's property. Things like this led to lots and lots of conflict that had built up over the 70 plus years that New England had been settled by the English. So you can see there was strife and uncertainty in almost every area of life. Politically, religiously, militarily, economically, meteorologically. There was so much uncertainty. Communities were struggling with themselves and with each other. Interpersonal dynamics came into play. But there was so much fear of this unknown future. Would the war come closer to home? Were their own homes and lives in danger? Was the devil at work in their area? So much to be frightful of because they'd been through so much. King Philip's War was devastating for everybody involved. The colonists themselves had suffered mightily and were faced with this overwhelming debt because of all these wars. You've got refugees, you've got epidemic disease, you've got crop failures, the coldest weather. And all of this is to say there's mass misfortune, widespread misery. And there's trauma, collectively and individually, from brutal warfare. Many of the afflicted persons were war orphans. And with all this going on, all it took was somebody to light a match of fear, and all that violent fuel went up in flames. And somebody did. When Abigail Williams and Betty Paris were diagnosed as under an evil hand, a spark was struck, and the fuel began smoldering. When first 3 witches were identified, the flames began. When Tituba confessed that there were 9 witches, and when subsequent confessions continued to increase that number exponentially, widespread fear took over and fanned the flames. Colonists feared they were surrounded by enemies on all sides. Mortal enemies to the north, the king forcing toleration upon them. Disease, crop woes, debt, their very way of life at stake, the entire Puritan experiment at risk of going up in flames, seeming to be under attack by the devil himself, with his witches on the front lines. So when the ones they labeled witches confirmed the devil was conspiring to pull down Christ's kingdom and set up his own in the Puritan Holy Land, people were ready to believe. So just look around today. Do you see any of these conditions present? Are there wars? Is there disease? Are there fears of economic downturns, political strife and controversy? uncertainty about the future? Do we have conflict in our own lives with our family, our neighbors, the people on the other side of town, people in the neighboring state? Where's our conflict? What are we going to do about it before somebody introduces the element of fear and another witch hunt happens? Or is it already happening?